From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MVW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
And broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Welcome to this Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning. We will talk a little football in the opening as news came out yesterday about Alex Givens. He's going to be limited throughout most of fall camp, had surgery in July, and the hope is for the opener. We'll get into that a little bit as the show goes on. We'll hit a few topics as well as we try to keep Neal's back going, struggling a little bit today. So we'll go through this, maybe a touch shorter, but we'll bring a podcast, hopefully some entertainment and some news to you this morning on the podcast brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. The temperatures are back up in the 90s. Go to daiquiri. A lot of different flavors to choose from. As cheap as $3.99, as big as 44 ounces if you so desire. There, you know about the ribs, the lunch specials, and the good gas prices that get even better with the Speed Pass Plus out, the mobile rewards program, and much more. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is the number. Call the number, ask for Corey Clark, and tell him what you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's that simple. Right to the bottom line, no haggle, no hassle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. Corey wants to be your truck guy. He wants to be your car guy. He'll prove it to you. Just call that number, 662-257-1900. He'll take care of the rest.
So up at Rebel Grove this morning, you're still taking questions for your mailbag, I believe. Also have a story up on Doug Nikhazy, the Ole Miss rising sophomore pitcher. He just completed his summer with Team USA. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means for next year, what this past year has been like for him as a guy that started the season just as a bullpen arm, didn't get one of those weekend rotation spots, goes into the rotation against Missouri, and never relinquished that role, really stabilizing Ole Miss. And a guy that, for someone who was not a starter at the beginning of the season, he's going to go into his sophomore year, probably, Neal, the face of the program. I think that's safe to say with his personality, his energy, the likelihood that he's a Friday night starter. And he learned some things about himself. He got some experiences. They went to Taiwan. They went to Japan over the summer. He just sort of, I think, found himself, matured as a college student, and we talked a little bit about all that. So that is up at rebelgrove.com if you so desire to read that. So anyway, that on Doug Nikhazy. And then your questions until when? When is the mailbag going to get start written?
It's going to start getting written today, so I'll probably take that down late this afternoon. I'm actually ahead a little bit this week.
Okay. Good for you.
I know.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I'm going to get to Alex Givens in a second. First, though, I got to go here because, and I know this is brought up to both our attentions. It was on the message board. Most people have seen this, but I'm kind of curious. Had you been that woman in Memphis, would that make you switch from Hilton to Marriott?
You're going to have to fill me in.
You haven't seen this?
Oh, the snake.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For anyone that's been under a rock, hopefully not with a snake under the rock with them, Melinda Major was asleep in her hotel room in Memphis, Tennessee on Friday morning when she felt something moving around on her arm. She was in town from Nashville for a doctor's appointment. At first, she thought it might have been her husband until she remembered he wasn't there with her. When she finally opened her eyes, she saw the stuff of nightmares. A thin green snake was stretched across her arm. I'm not a snake person. I can deal with spiders and all the icky things, but snakes are not my thing. She immediately jumped up, slung the snake off her arm, and hit the headboard and bounced back onto the bed. She leapt onto the other bed in the room and snapped a picture. The snake then started moving under the blanket. She jumped onto the desk in the room and called the front desk of the Hampton Inn, Walnut Grove in East Memphis. Hotel staff came, got her out of the room, and then called pest control. She says, though, they handled the situation effectively and that it would not change her staying habits in the future. She would still stay at this hotel.
The fact that it was a harmless snake probably I'd be okay. I don't think I'd switch my loyalty. It would depend on how they handled it. But I'm not a snake person either. And yeah,
you might need some points. Might need a couple Hilton Honors points thrown onto the thing just for the heck of it.
I would hope that she got some points. I would hope that
maybe even some diamond status if she was not diamond status.
Yeah, maybe the next couple stays are on us. That's
my gosh.
I'm not sure I wouldn't have a heart attack.
Well, it would be kind of over before you even realize what it was, because your instincts would be to just throw the snake off. So the snake would be gone before you would realize there's a snake on you, I think. But it's still on the bed.
And they found the snake, right? It was on the bed?
Yeah, it was under the blanket.
Yeah.
Or I assume. They did not actually say.
All right, question. When you go to a hotel, do you ever use the comforter?
You mean just the top little layer thing?
Yeah. It's what never gets washed, man.
Never is probably a strong word, because I do get very cold. What do you trust more, the comforter or the extra blanket in the closet?
That's a good question. I often take my own blanket.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't do that. Now you're making me wonder a little bit, but no.
Because I don't know, does that extra blanket...
Well, see, I don't think it ever gets touched. I think it just gets zipped back up in the bag or whatever. Occasionally, they've got to do something to that comforter.
You would think, right, that occasionally they have to wash those, but those things are hard to wash and dry, as anyone knows who's ever washed and dried one.
Yeah, of course.
And stuff happens on top of those comforters.
Think so?
Yeah.
I guess you could just take your own comforter every time. Just zip it up in a bag and take it with you.
It'd be hard to carry that on a plane, but
I mean, you'd be you would be classified as a little neurotic, but you could do it.
Just something I think about sometimes when I check into a hotel and I look at that comforter and I think, when was the last time that got washed?
Because if the answer is not yesterday,
if
there's a chance of worry there.
Yeah, because you just don't know.
Whew. Okay. Well, good enough. I think that's all I had in news to freak you out this morning. We'll get to some actual news. So yesterday, Ole Miss put out a statement. Said Alex Givens, obviously the Ole Miss senior tackle, underwent a successful surgical procedure on his lower back on July 18th after receiving the medical staff's evaluation of his progress. Givens will be limited throughout preseason camp and is hopeful to return in time for the opener. You are hearing that it is a microdiscectomy, and they'll figure out a timetable at a later date. Either way, big news for Ole Miss, because even if he's back for the opener, what is his shape going to be in? Is he going to be in complete football shape? And then on the off chance that he's not, I don't know what that offensive line looks like, McCready.
Yeah, see, so here's the thing, and I get this question a lot. And it's a good question. I'm not knocking the question. It's, well, what does the offensive line look like if, take this guy out, take this guy out. And I know I've been the optimistic guy that goes, hey, I think they could get to 7. And I do think they could get to 7, but it requires total health up front, really. Because for the sake of it, for the sake of this discussion, let's just say that Alex Givens is not available for the Memphis game. Okay? I think he probably will be, based on everything I've been told. He probably will be. But for the sake of this conversation, it's our podcast, let's say he's not. And it's a back injury. And back injuries are, as anyone who's ever had one knows, they can be problematic. So let's just say that he's not available. What does an offensive line look like week 1? It's Bryce Matthews and Royce Newman at the tackles.
That is my guess. I'm pulling up just to make sure we don't miss someone.
Yeah. It's Eli Johnson at center, and his role, already important, now becomes freaking paramount. And he's a guy who, through no fault of his own, has had a hard time staying healthy.
You know Ben Brown's playing a guard.
Ben Brown's playing guard, and he's a very good player.
You know Royce Newman's playing a tackle.
Yep.
You know Bryce Matthews can play guard or tackle.
And in this scenario, he probably has to play tackle.
Because your offensive line on the roster, I'm just reading their names. Jeremy James, freshman. Hamilton Hall, a redshirt, freshman. Nick Cantu, Bryce Ramsey, freshman. Darius Thomas, freshman. Royce Newman, we know that. Bryce Matthews, Carter Colquitt, freshman. Chandler Tuitt, Jr., got to play somewhere if this happens. Givens, Nick Broker, who Matt Luke does expect to play, freshman. Reese McIntyre, freshman. Ben Brown, Caleb Warren, freshman. Michael Howard, senior, but that's been what it's been. And Jalen Cunningham. That's it. And Jalen Cunningham is listed on the roster at 369 pounds.
Yeah, so you're talking... It has to be Tuitt, right?
I think so.
And then if one of those guys goes down...
It's one of the freshmen and pray and hope. Just being real. I mean, obviously there's other dudes, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and
that's likely the way it would have to go.
So at noon on that turf on August the 31st, the odds are overwhelming. The temperature on that turf is 100 degrees.
Oh, it's going to be a miserable day from a heat standpoint. You know that.
So you're counting on like 5 or 6 guys. It's the part of the equation that I struggle with the most. It's one of the things that as we get ready for the media day on Thursday, I'm hoping somebody else asked the question because it's such a bad question and it comes across as a soft question. And not that Matt would attack it, but fans out there will be like, it's football, Neil. You got to play football. I get it, but I don't know how you can go through. Can you imagine the nerves of running a full 120-play scrimmage where your starting offensive line gets 60 snaps?
Well, in that last scrimmage, whenever that is, on August 18th or whatever, I'm just throwing dates out, a sprained ankle potentially cost you the opener.
Yeah.
You can't get a sprained ankle at that point.
I mean, you've got to get those Broker and
again,
all.
Sprained ankles happen without contact. I mean, you're going to have this problem even just in practice going, please just get through today.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow we'll just get through tomorrow and then get through the next day. I mean, we've said this 1,000 times. We'll say it a few more times before the season gets here. That's what saved that 2012 team and allowed them to take that step and get to 6-6. Is they essentially played the entire year with 6 healthy offensive linemen.
They didn't essentially do it. They did it. Yeah. Nobody got hurt.
They had 5 starters and another dude and played them the entire season.
And most of them were guards. Had Pierce Burton gone down at any point in that season, it was done. Just done.
You know, we call Bo Wallace the most important recruit of the Freeze era. Pierce Burton might be number 2.
Oh, I think that's fair. They didn't have anybody else to play that spot. He came in as the JUCO guy who handled it
immediately. Yeah.
So I just look at that offensive line. It's the one thing when people do, and look, I get optimism and stuff, and people do the, hey, how do they get to 8-4? And I just can't get them there because in my mind, I think there's no way that you don't have something happen to an offensive lineman. And if you do, or if you have a spate of injuries up there, and I'm not talking about guys breaking their legs or stuff. I'm just talking about a guy turns a knee and he needs to miss 2 weeks. Concussions. Just not available that week. A shoulder injury that makes you miss a couple of weeks. A broken foot that makes you miss a month. Injuries that happen up front all the time. What do you do? And unless some freshmen emerge who can handle it, and again, they play in the SEC West. I just think that to me is the biggest part of this season that prevents me from having, quote, optimism, end quote. It's what holds me back. And if you tell me that the season gets derailed, that's where I go. And again, from all accounts, Givens is going to be okay. He's a big, strong kid. He's got good medical people around him. They've got a plan. They'll be smart. In some ways, it's a blessing because now you're not going to get him hurt in camp, and you're going to get other people some reps that they desperately need. And he knows what he's doing. I do question whether it's realistic to say, hey, Alex Givens misses most of camp, but he's ready to go 90 snaps against Memphis. That might not be realistic.
That's why I was talking about shape versus football shape. It's just different, as much of a cliche as it is. I mean, you can ride the bike and you can run and you can be in great cardiovascular shape, but there is a difference in that in football shape.
Yeah, a difference in that. A 280-pound person running right at you.
Yeah. And now he's got tons of experience. I mean, it's quicker of a change than it would be for somebody that hasn't had that. But
yeah, again, I anticipate he's going to be okay.
No, I think he's going to play. I mean, there's no doubt about that in my head, unless something goes wrong. I would be a little shocked, or there would be a medical issue that if he does not play. My opinion.
But you can have a setback with the back injury.
Of course.
Those deals can act up, and you can. The other scenario is he gets out there and it flares up and he has to miss a month.
We'll see. I mean,
but he does have the benefit of being young and healthy and strong and all of those things, and the odds are he'll be fine. But I'm sure this is not the route they wanted to go. I'll put it that way. And and they'll miss his leadership a little bit in fall camp, but it'll force someone else to do it. And
there is the positive of that, is that if nothing else, it's going to give somebody else an opportunity to be that productive 6th or 7th guy, because they're going to get a ton of reps.
Oh,
somebody's going to get repped out of their minds.
Yeah, that is the positive. Well, these freshmen have to get repped.
Because you got to figure out what you got.
You've got to figure out what you've got, and if you've decided that let's use Broker for example, because Matt Luke brought his name up unprompted. Well, I guess I prompted it. I said if freshmen had to play, who would play? Let's use Broker for example. If the goal is to have Nick Broker game ready August the 31st, he's got to have reps, lots and lots and lots of reps, quality reps. And so now he gets them by default. And you've got to bring some of those other freshmen along. And the truth is about freshman offensive linemen is they're just very rarely in the type of shape you have to be in to play high-level SEC football that freshman year. Doesn't mean that you're not going to be a good player, because I think they have pretty high hopes for some of those guys.
It's just that transition and that curve is so large.
But getting those guys ready for August the 31st and September the 7th, it's a tall order.
Well, and it's why, a lot of Ole Miss fans, and again, I'm not blaming, I get it. I mean, nobody focuses on everybody else in the country. It's why in some ways there's a little skewed thought there, because they've had Greg and Laramie and these guys do it immediately. You know what I mean? It's just a different deal.
Yeah. There's no Laramie Tunsil in that group. And I don't think there's a Greg Little in that group. I think there's some good players, and I know they like Broker a lot, but I mean, I think in an ideal world, Broker comes into a program where he gets a little time, but I don't know that he's going to get that much time. He's going to have to go out and do it.
Yeah.
Well, all of this, hey, all of this, I'm not trying to be the negative guy. It's what's fascinating really about the job that's in front of the offensive coaches. All of this is with an unproven redshirt freshman quarterback. People talk about Matt Corral as if he has been a 3-year starter. The Memphis game will be his first start. And whoever is his backup, that will be his first college game to even put on a uniform.
I know. Whomever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, it's, Rich Rodriguez, I heard him say the other day to somebody, sometimes it's kind of fun when you have a bunch of young players and no one's proven because there's a lot to prove. And that's true. It'll be interesting. That's for sure. But that's the one thing I have to remind people sometimes. I'll get people that they're already really bullish on Corral. And I get it. He's very talented. And I think he's going to be a very good quarterback. But to assume that Matt Corral will have no growing pains as a redshirt freshman is one hell of an assumption.
Continue this conversation in 1 second. First, about MasterCut's Lawn and Landscape, the premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi, but a lot more as well. They build custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, outdoor living spaces with paper patios, forestry mulching, and much more. The path to your dream backyard, easier than you think. Go mastercuts.com for a free quote or 662-607-7773. Again, go mastercuts.com.
7 South Tailgating's the premier tailgating service provider at Ole Miss. While they offer your standard tailgating services, such as tent and table and all that, they offer so much more. They'll set up, break down, and store your own personal gear. You can rent gear from them. They offer cooler, ice, beverage, TV, satellite, generator, chandeliers, tablecloths. Basically, if you want it, they've got it. You can bring your own items, and they'll set it up for you, or you can rent everything from them. Just give them a call or go online today for a detailed quote customized to your specific needs. It is 662-321-1682 or visit 7southtailgating.com. Podcast also brought to you by Scoopers Pet Waste Removal, LLC. Everyone loves their pets, but no one loves stepping in their pet stuff and bringing it inside. Scoopers will handle it for you. For $10 of cleaning, Scoopers will clean up your yard. They'll do it on your schedule, whether that's weekly, bi-weekly, or one-time service. Contracts are not required. You can cancel at any time, and if you have multiple dogs, it's just $2 for each additional dog. 662-506-2754 or scoopers.oxfordpetwaste@gmail.com. We're also brought to you by Oxford University Bank. OUB has a commercial checking account now paying 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. It comes with fully interactive online banking. They can set up any local business to deposit checks from their office and not have to worry with coming to the bank to deposit those checks. So if you want to learn more about that, learn more about OUB, go to liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. The Oxford Park Commission currently registering for youth flag football and the fall baseball season. Leagues are open for ages 6 to 12 in football, 6 to 15 in baseball. The cost to sign up for football is $50, just $40 for baseball. Each sport will be played at FNC Park. For more details, visit oxfordparkcommission.com. Also brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry's an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. He's a big part of Savannah Square, which is a new development about 0.7 of a mile from the Oxford downtown square, conveniently located east of North Lamar. You can learn more about Savannah Square at savannahsquareoxford.com. They've got some units still available. You can check out the model home at 215 William Street and then get in touch with Harry, 662-801-5621. And we're brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals. If they don't have what you're looking for, they'll get it to their lot quickly. They'll take great care of you. Customer service is a big part of what makes Grenada Nissan special. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com.
Speaking of Tunzel, the Dolphins fired their offensive line coach yesterday. He was hired in February. So hired once the season's done, and now has been fired prior to the season starting, and they say strictly for on-field things that the offensive line has struggled throughout the spring and the summer. Just getting their tail kicked by the defensive line? Like, how bad do you have to be to lose your job in the offseason?
They've got 2-14 train wreck written all over them.
Flores, the head coach, has made it clear there are no, quote, sacred cows in the organization and players are competing for their jobs every day. That refers to coaches, too. Oh, good grief.
Yeah.
We're doing this college thing with them. You know what I mean?
It's trying too hard.
Yeah.
New coach walks in. There's no job safe here, boys. I tell you.
The fact the move happened even before the preseason shows the issues with how Flaherty was guiding the offensive line were significant. The interior of the offensive line in particular has been dominated by the defensive line through 4 days of training camp. They're expected to have at least 2 new starters on their offensive line, and they also need to groom several young players, including third-round pick Michael Dieter.
So you fire the coach a week into camp.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
I'd really like to get Laramie's thoughts right now.
Yeah, he's wondering just how much longer till I can become a free agent. When
yeah, 2 years, huh? Okay.
2 more years, huh? I wonder if this would be a great time to demand a trade.
So you don't think Laramie was being completely honest when he said he would like to finish his career in Miami the other day?
I think as shocking as this is, Laramie is pretty good at PR.
He said the appropriate thing at the appropriate time.
Yeah.
And in 2 years, when the Cowboys back up this Brinks truck full of money, he'll take it, or whomever.
Yeah. It's almost like if you allow a player to have some interaction with the media, he gets good at it.
You know, the Rams and the Saints are 2 of the teams that really don't. They just kind of ignore that whole salary cap thing. So maybe that's good landing spots for him in a couple years. Salary cap really just a suggestion more than anything else for the Rams and the Saints.
I don't think your brother could handle Laramie with the Rams. I think that would be the end of it. I think he would just move to L.A.
It would be too much.
It'd be just overwhelming.
Yeah.
It'd be like the kid who likes chocolate and you just drop him inside a chocolate factory and say, go for it.
The Willy Wonka kid?
Yeah. Everything here is yours.
Yeah, because the Dolphins have no chance in 2 years, 5 years. I mean, it is undeniable train wreck.
Feels like it.
They're awful. Somehow they might have become the worst franchise in football.
And I just don't see how that happened.
I think Sports Illustrated predicting them at 2-14 the other day, or 3-13, or something like that.
I was just saying a minute ago, it has a 2-14 feel to it.
He has no continuity up front with him whatsoever. They're not very good.
They beat the Bears last year. I remember watching that game.
Did they?
I think so, if I recall correctly.
I don't remember. Speaking of last year, I was going to talk about this anyway, so we'll do it now. This line is whatever it is for Ole Miss and Memphis. Memphis favored by 6 to 8, depending on your book or how it's moved. I'm looking at their schedule, and I know they got some guys back. I know Norvell's done a really good job. They had some clunkers last year. And I get Ole Miss has questions too. That's not really the debate. This is not really even a pro Ole Miss thing. It's when you're looking at Memphis, how are you seeing this at least relatively elite team? Tulane scored 40 on them and beat them 40-24. Missouri just ran roughshod over them, scored 60-something, beat them 65-33. It was late when they put away SMU, who was terrible last year. South Owl scored 30-something points on them. There's just some question marks when I look at that schedule last year and then go, hey, it's that, plus they lost this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. They don't look elite to me at all.
Well, no, it's one of the interesting things, and Brett Norsworthy said this on this podcast when I interviewed him in Birmingham at Media Days. In the last 16 games, Ole Miss is 8-8. And the general fan opinion of the program, based on what I read on social media and on our side, is the sky is falling. In the last 16 games, Memphis is 8-8. And the general feeling about that program from people is that Norvell has the Tigers on the rise. And a lot of that is because the Vegas people are predicting 11 or 12 wins. The computers like Memphis. I'm not saying they should. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just saying they do. For whatever reason, though, there's this. I hear more people going, yeah, I think Ole Miss loses to Memphis and beats Arkansas than I do the other. And to me, I expect Ole Miss to beat Memphis. And I expect the Arkansas game to be an absolute coin toss. Just literally flip it. I like Ole Miss plus the points in that game.
The Memphis defense last year playing a schedule that was not good. I mean, Missouri may have been, well, other than UCF, the best team that was on the schedule. They gave up 35, 40, 65, 31, 41, 31, 56, 37 last year.
Look, Ole Miss's defense was horrid last year.
Yes.
So was Memphis's. The game that I can't get out of my head, we've talked about this, I can't get the Memphis game at Missouri out of my head. And I know it started badly for Memphis, and sometimes when a game starts badly, it goes off the rails. But Missouri kicked their ass at the line of scrimmage. The whole game. And Missouri was good. Missouri would have beaten Ole Miss last year. Make no mistake. In Oxford or in Columbia. But that game was in Columbia, and had Ole Miss had to go play in Columbia last year, Ole Miss would have lost. Not sure they would have lost like that. And I know you can't do comparisons and stuff. I'm just not sold on the Tigers, especially on the defensive side. And they're installing a new system, too. They've got a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator. I do think Norvell's a good coach. I think he's done a really good job there. And I know their fans will be excited for that game, and their team will be excited for that game. It's an opportunity to beat an SEC team. I'm sure they have it circled. All of that stuff. But I think if Ole Miss plays well, it wins. It wins in Memphis. I just do.
Yeah, Missouri 65-33. And physically, it was a beatdown.
It was an absolute beatdown. And now Memphis offensively was good last year, and I think they'll be pretty good again this year. And Ole Miss's defense, for all of the jokes about they'll be lined up right and all that stuff, it's the same kids that got blitzed all year last year for the most part. And
now,
so
lining up is pretty important.
It is. And I'm trying not to, belittle that. It's just Ole Miss's Ole Miss's defense is definitely going to be a whole lot better. I'm going to slow the roll there. I want to see it. I think they're going to be better. How much better? I don't know. But a whole lot better right away with the same players? Not sure I'm ready to go that far just yet. I expect there to be a lot of points that day in the Liberty Bowl. But I'm just not I'm not ready to do this. Memphis is a 2-touchdown favorite.
Oh, yeah, because the, what was that, the Action Network's, analytics or whatever that had it as a 13, 14-point game when Jeffrey was on, a month and a half ago?
It was 12 and a half, 13, something like that. And it was just, give me that line. In. Ole Miss plus 12 and a half, in.
We talked about the offensive line. Obviously, Corral, that's a free space. Who are the 2 or 3 other guys that have to be 100% without issue going into that game, health-wise?
Oh, it's the defensive front. It's Benito Jones and Josiah Coatney and those guys. And then
Sonogo.
Yeah. And, look, they could use a healthy Jalen Jones.
They need him to find that pre-injury guy because that would mean the world to them right now.
Sure. Because I'm just not ready to do this. Oh, yeah. Because, look, he's a great kid, and I hope it works out for him. But this whole, Sam Williams, man, walks in day one, impact player. Lakia Henry walks in day one, impact player. You are asking a lot of JUCOs when you do that. And Ole Miss had some JUCO luck last year with Scotty Phillips. Counting on that kind of JUCO luck year in and year out is folly. Watch them both be all SEC players. Nobody said, you said they wouldn't be. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying counting on that right away is a lot to ask.
In every sport, JUCO kids have a little bit of a higher percentage, but so many of them transition just like freshmen. They look exactly like freshmen the first year. Just spinning.
Yeah. Yeah, especially early. And I'm talking about the first 2 weeks right now.
Because the first 2 weeks are paramount. They set everything else up. The season could be in fantastic shape or, frankly, be over in 2 weeks. I have a hard time. I mean, they look, I don't think Ole Miss is starting 0-2, but they start 0-2. I have a hard time getting to 6.
Well, they don't get to 6.
You know, you start 2-0, well, suddenly you're 3-0. Suddenly you got a shot at 4-0. Suddenly you got a shot at 5-1.
Got a real shot at it.
Because I think Vanderbilt's going to suck.
Still on the schedule. Yeah. Totally different deal. It's when people say, well, you know, don't overplay these first 2 weeks. Man, get out of here. This team starts 0-2. Attendance starts becoming this major story. Morale becomes this major story. If this team's 0-2 at 3 o'clock on September the 15th when Southeastern Louisiana comes in, it's going to be Boy Scout giveaway day. If you can get your Boy Scout or Brownie Scout troop to Oxford, tickets are on them. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. If you told me that they either went 0-2 or 2-0, I would say 2-0 without blinking an eye.
Because you feel so good about the first one.
Yeah, because I think they're going to beat Memphis. I think the Arkansas game is a coin toss. It was a coin toss last year in Little Rock. Frankly, for most of the game, it looked like Arkansas was going to win.
They had some injuries, and Ole Miss played pretty clean in the second half.
Yeah, Ole Miss played a really good fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And that counts, and they won. But that game, anybody who says to me, oh, there's no way Arkansas comes to Oxford and wins, I'm like, oh, for the love of God, of course there's a way. In the same way that there's a way Ole Miss wins that game. It's 50-50. But, yeah, the start to the season's huge. Because if they're 2-0, there's going to be a lot of people at the Southeastern Louisiana game. People are going to be excited. There's going to be some buzz. Then you get 3-0, and that Cal game's a big deal. Big deal. People are pumped. And then you go to Alabama, and you play, whatever, you get done. Come back. Vanderbilt's a huge game, and if you win it, hell, 5-1 at the break.
With a guaranteed bowl because New Mexico State's still on the schedule.
5-1 at the turn with New Mexico State sitting on the schedule. You get 5 free shots.
Yeah, with no pressure, knowing you're getting there. It's done.
None. Nobody's talking about, hey, is this coaching staff safe? Of course.
Yeah, they're going to a bowl game.
Yeah, they're going to a bowl game.
It's are you going to Memphis or are you going to win one or two of the other ones and suddenly have this special kind of deal where you end up in wherever? Who cares?
Yeah. But you lose the first 2, you can't get to 6. It's not possible.
You lose the first 2, you're 1-2, and then that Cal game is going to feel like just every bit of air is hanging in the balance.
Oh, I think at 1-2, the air around the fan base is so negative that we're already early in September getting the quotes from people about, hey, we got to pay attention to inside the building and all that stuff. We've got to keep the outside noise outside. And every time you start hearing that stuff, you know it's bad. Tell me a time that you've heard that stuff when things were going well. I'll wait.
Well, of course.
It's not realistic on a college football team. Because the kids go to class with classmates. They're
insulating to that degree is just it's impossible.
It's impossible. And then social media, the way it is and such, as Houston Nutt would say, the world in which we live.
That's right. Well, he spent 2 full years with that mantra. So,
yeah,
I mean,
the world in which we live.
I mean, he had Jacksonville State in 10, and then BYU in 11. So that went fast. He had to lock the inside of the IPF quickly there.
You ever seen a more shell-shocked post game than Jacksonville State?
I don't remember the post game of Jacksonville State.
Oh, I do.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it? I don't remember at all.
Shell-shocked.
Well,
just
and nothing against him, whatever. But we've talked about how good Masoli was that year. I just kept thinking. All I remember is in the fourth quarter, is that game's close and Jacksonville State converts that fourth and whatever and all that stuff. Is you gave away possessions that Jeremiah Masoli could have been on the field. That's the only thing that kept going through my mind the entire time. Is, I mean, you should beat Jacksonville State anyway, but you had Jeremiah Masoli and you didn't play him. I mean, not that it would have mattered, but
that was a crazy year.
If they win that game, they actually would have had a shot at finding 6 wins.
Yeah.
Because that would have been 5, and, things change and whatever.
That would have been okay. He would have been able to say, hey, it's a win. No such thing as an ugly.
Because Masoli almost beat Arkansas by himself. It seems like they played pretty well at LSU.
You got the glimpse. Yeah, they did. Probably.
That was the Marquise Summers dive in the end zone thing, right?
Yeah, kind of got screwed on a call.
Yeah, that's right.
You got a glimpse of what was to come when Masoli got knocked out of that Tennessee game.
Oh, I was up there.
Got a glimpse of what was to come.
That was bad.
Yeah, that was bad. That was right before the "It's been 50 years" speech, and before he came over to me at the Manning Center. He said, "So I'm firing coaches, right?" And I said, "Did you read it?" Hey, along those lines, congrats to Mike Beaumont. I saw where he is the athletics director for Fort Smith Schools now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And it appeared from looking at the picture that Houston Nutt was there for his introduction.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'll see Houston in Fayetteville.
Maybe you will.
At some point.
Get some restaurant tips. Talk about the good old days.
What would we talk about? You think he still hates me, or you think he's over it?
I think he's probably over it.
Yeah.
It's been almost 10 years. Lots happened since then.
We ended on decent terms, actually.
Yeah. I don't know, Neil. I don't know, Neil.
Well, I do, Houston.
Yeah. I got a hunch. You're losing to Vanderbilt 30-0 at one point. Before Dante Moncrief caught a very mop-up touchdown. That was bizarro world, because I don't know if we realized, I mean, we knew they were bad, but I don't know if we realized just how bad that team was until that happened. And you looked up early third quarter and you went, it's 30-0.
And when they were calling timeouts and stuff,
trying to score, yeah.
I remember saying, what is going on?
Yeah.
I know fans wonder why we get back on these topics. It's because sometimes we look back on certain years and think, that was just crazy. And that year was crazy. The whole year.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by G&M Pharmacy and Tyson Drugs. G&M right there on South Lamar in Oxford, 662-236-2222. They deliver it local in the Oxford area to your home or workplace. Now for MedSync. So they fill all your prescriptions at the same time every month. Make it easy on you. Make sure you have the medications you need when you need them. They also have good websites where you can go straight and product request there online. That's TysonDrugs.com. That's GandMPharmacy.com. Click that link and request prescriptions without talking to a soul. You can be completely antisocial and still get all the prescriptions that you need. Again, that's 662-236-2222.
Antisocial, you said?
Yes, that is the word.
That's good. If you are wanting to get a pair of Blue Delta jeans and you don't want to wait until football season, I've got good news for you. They They're out and about all the time. They're at pop-up events. They are at golf tournaments. Yesterday, they were at Pebble Beach in what appeared to be a beautiful weather day out in Monterey, Carmel. I was jealous looking at the photos. Today, they're in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tomorrow, they will be in Oklahoma City. And Thursday and Friday, the Blue Delta Jeans guys will be in Houston and San Angelo, Texas. If you live in Nashville or around Nashville, or you're going to be in Nashville next Friday, August the 9th, Blue Delta Jeans will be there as well. So if any of those line up with you and you want to get a fitting, you want to get a private fitting, you can do that. Set up an appointment by sending them an email, info@bluedeltajeans.com, info@bluedeltajeans.com. They'll take good care of you, and you can also follow them on Twitter and Instagram on their direct messages. Podcast also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. I've told you guys how this works for a while. John's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. So get in touch with him. Give him some parameters. Give him a budget. He'll give you options that you won't find on your own, and you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. It's jedwards@regencytravel.net or 901-494-3387. My mailbag will be up sometime tomorrow. It's brought to you by the Westin Jackson. The Westin Jackson's home to Soul Spa, also home to Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro. If you are passing through Jackson on work, if you're heading down to Jackson for one last weekend before everything gets cranking, be a great place, be the place for you to stop and stay at the Westin Jackson in downtown Jackson. Speaking of Jackson, Pinnacle Trust is not far away. They're in Madison, Mississippi. They represent clients in more than 20 states. They have advisors in several states as well. So whether you are looking to set up some financial planning, whether you're looking to start getting your retirement planning moving into a place where you have some peace of mind, or whether you are a business that is looking to revamp your 401k plans for your employees, Pinnacle Trust can help you. It's pintrust.com, PINN trust.com. Mention you heard about them on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fee. And you don't want to miss 1 minute of the action at the Vault this season as Ole Miss football arrives in September. The home part of the season, I should say. Reserve your season tickets today with the new 2019 season ticket pricing for just $299. For more information, visit OleMissTix.com. That's OleMissTix.com.
Podcast also brought to you by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. So you're getting local underwriting that understands your market, a leader in condo financing, and the float-down option. So you can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com. And remember that rates are the lowest they've been in about 2 years, so maybe the time to contact him about the refinance or the purchase that you have been looking at. Yeah, okay, if you see Houston walking down the street, do you say hello? Do you go out of your way to speak?
I think I would.
Okay.
I mean, I'd say, hey, my daughter's going to Arkansas, which I don't think would surprise him at all.
Okay. Just curious.
I mean, I don't think he'd like punch me or anything.
Well, no. That's not my point.
Yeah. I actually don't have a real problem with Houston Nutt. Most of the things that he said behind my back, he said to my face as well. I respect that. He truly believed I was bad for the program. And he said as much.
Anyway.
I mean,
let's see. It's kind of interesting.
His successor would say some of the same things, but he wouldn't say it to me. When I try to talk about it, he wouldn't.
Y'all had meetings.
We did. Houston and I never had a meeting. I never set foot in his office.
You hadn't had many meetings lately.
No. No, it's almost like it's professional.
You're due a meeting with somebody, I think. All right.
Oh, no meetings.
Okay.
Nope. All good.
All right. Let's see. Oh, this is okay. So I got this here. I don't really know how I feel about this because I don't even allow my vehicle to do some of the things it will do. It says experts say it's at least a decade before you can buy a self-driving vehicle. Auto and tech industry experts predict it will be at least 12 years before fully autonomous vehicles are being sold to private buyers, according to J.D. Power. What's your thoughts on all this?
I do think it's going to happen.
Industry insiders do believe robo-taxis will not be ready for widespread public use until 2025.
That's only 6 years.
I know.
What I was going to say is I think it's going to happen, but I think it's way down the road. And I don't...
What is the extra liability with these? Or is there less?
There may be
you trust
less.
the computer more than you trust a human?
Well, there's a lot of automation out there.
Oh, I mean, I use it. I use more than the average bear, probably.
Would you ever be, in your opinion, do you think you could ever be comfortable climbing into your car, entering the coordinates or whatnot, and then just letting it take you?
I don't think so because I grew up in, obviously, a different era. But I do wonder about Carly Ann or certainly anybody born since then or, in the near future by the time they're driving. It says by 2034, autonomous vehicles will make up about 10% of all vehicles being bought and sold, J.D. Power says. So even in 2034, a very small number. Because my car, I don't allow right now, like it will do the thing where it will keep you in your lane. If you have lane assist on, it will brake itself if you get too close to something in front of you. And it obviously does the cruise thing where if somebody's in front, it will automatically slow down the cruise to the necessary mile per hour. And then once that person moves, it will speed back up to whatever you had it set on. The lane assist bugs me, though, because I feel like my steering wheel is actually moving. So I've turned all that off. I hate it. I can't stand it.
I will say this, not to be the old man yelling at the cloud.
Yeah.
But driving around and seeing all of... We live in a college town. And I'm glad they're here. It's good for the economy, blah, blah, blah. But I can't tell you how many college kids I see driving around holding their phone in their hand, in their eyesight, above the steering wheel. And frankly, I would trust a computer driving them around more than I trust them driving themselves around. Get on Highway 6 or Highway 7 around here, and you'll see it. It's like a damn epidemic. They cannot put their phones down.
Elon Musk is sticking with his forecast of 1 million Teslas capable of being robo-taxis by the end of next year.
Would you get in a robo-taxi? Let's say you're in Houston, or you're in Dallas, or Atlanta, and there's a new app, a robo-taxi app, and it's a little cheaper than Uber or Lyft or whatnot. Would you get in it? Would you climb in the back seat of a robo-taxi to take you 6 miles in Atlanta?
When you were first asking the question, my initial thought was no. However, the more I think about it, why do I trust that less than the Uber driver that has who knows what's going on in his life? I don't know. It's a good question. I don't have a real strong answer either way.
Yeah, I mean, so I was just thinking about it while you were giving that answer.
I mostly trust technology if it's at a regulatory effort to be this widespread. I typically do. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
I think I would.
You know the projections aren't correct, though. It's going to be longer than they think. So there's a decent chance that this is not overly applicable to either one of us.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's going to impact my lifetime. But if you told me that my kids, I guess, so my grandkids.
Oh, I certainly think they will at least have that capability. Yeah, no doubt.
They're going to grow up with it. It's not going to be strange to them.
I wonder about the kid that's born within the next 5 years, 10 years, whatever the time period. Point being, there's going to be a generation that no longer learns to drive to the point that we did. And that's crazy to me, but I do think it's true eventually. Right?
Yeah, I'm thinking about something that you...
What?
I'll tell you later. Nobody would. Our little inside joke about someone that we've.
Oh God! No God.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, she was ahead of her time.
Oh. God. I'm sorry, people. I apologize.
She was a trailblazer.
Yes. That's...
Yeah, no, I mean, once that stuff starts becoming prevalent, insurance companies are going to prefer insuring a computer over a person. The computer's not going to be distracted. The person will be.
This is bad for insurance companies, right?
Fewer wrecks.
I mean, obviously, you still got to have liability on your robocar.
Yeah, sure. In case the computer shorts out and goes crashing into something.
See, this is my problem though, because as soon as that happens, now we've got lawsuits. You know what I mean? Like that is my overall hang up from a pragmatic standpoint with this. Is that to me, from a company standpoint, the liability would be off the charts.
Okay, so flip side. Today, what percentage of car accidents are caused by human error?
A huge number. Huge.
I mean, a number approaching.
I mean, I'm sure sometimes. I mean, yes, I'm sure there are occasions where brakes go out and all these different things. But
right.
No, I mean, over 98% probably.
So if you eliminate human error, and now it's just mechanical error, that's pretty significant.
It is.
If I told law enforcement today I could eliminate human error as a cause of accidents, they'd say, whoa, it's going to be a lot different around here. You won't have that cat going 95 miles an hour on the left side of the interstate. It won't happen anymore. The vehicle won't do it.
That's a good point, too. Wonder what all the regulations are on speed control and some of those things. That's an interesting point to me.
It's kind of a fascinating thing to think about, just to kind of.
Because I'll be honest, that's a detriment for a lot of people. Is hey, I literally it won't go over the speed limit at all. So you're telling me if I get on the highway and I'm driving, I have to go 63 miles an hour everywhere I go. And I'm not saying go 90, but we all go 70.
Well, sure, the speed limit's 70, you go
74, whatever.
74, 75, 76.
That's my point. If it's regulated to where you can't essentially break traffic violations or traffic code, that's a huge detriment for a lot of people.
Those automate if it reads a speed limit and slows down to that speed limit, the Ole Miss campus is going to get bogged down with the speed limit 10. Damn. Gonna have to find a new number to retire.
Is it going from 18 to 10?
I don't know. Is it someplace 10? Someplace.
Well, I think it's just Manning Way that's 10, isn't it? Is it 10? The campus is still 18.
Campus is 18.
Yeah. Would you like people going 37 around campus? The way kids walk out into the crosswalks and the lack of crosswalks everywhere?
Probably not.
Because it's a bit of a game. I mean, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Seriously, though, like, you've got to kind of dodge people. You got to be really on a swivel driving through campus. Because they just walk out everywhere. I don't know.
When we were driving in Chicago, people just not paying attention to the crosswalk signs. Just walking around, just whatever.
This is bothering you?
I'm bothered by the people distracted on their phones. If I'm honest,
that has become really, over the last probably 18 to 24 months, something that really bugs you.
Well,
and I understand why. You're right.
The other day, I was driving on Highway 6. I was actually leaving the gym. I was heading back 6 to 7. And a girl I'm on the right lane, and she's in the left lane, and she's drifting over towards me. And I honk at her, not in a mean way, but like, hey, wake up. And she jerks back over to the left. And then as I pass her, she glares at me. I'm like, you shouldn't be glaring at me. I just saved you an accident.
But you got glared at.
Saved you from having to call your dad and say, hey, Dad, I had a wreck. I hit this guy on my right. I moved over into his lane. I wasn't paying attention. I was on my phone reading Instagram. I saved her that call, and she glared at me like I had kicked her dog. She should have said, thank you. You just saved my Tuesday. But no. She glared at the fat bald guy. I mean, that's wrong. It's a public service. I should have just let her hit me.
Speaking of angry people, I haven't been bitten by that pug in a while. Still here. Haven't been bitten.
The one that is in your neighborhood when you run?
Yeah, chases me around.
Well, you probably just jinxed it right there.
Gonna lose an Achilles today, aren't I?
Yep.
It's gonna happen.
That is the worst, man. You're running and you're off in your own world listening to a song, and all of a sudden there's a dog on your ankle.
Yeah, you hear it at the last second because you've got headphones in where you don't really hear much, and then all of a sudden it gets really close and it startles you, and then pow, you're popped. Oh gosh, I hate that dog.
Yeah, when it bites you at that moment, you have an excuse to kick it hard.
You think you can kick it?
Absolutely. Once it bites you, absolutely.
The woman's running at you going, oh, it's a sweet dog. No, it's not.
Oh, he's not sweet. He just bit me.
He's hanging on to my calf.
No, I think
I told you, he drew blood and tore through that compression sleeve that day.
Oh, no, he's fair game.
Oh, gosh. All right. This is the last
neighborhood that won't bite you. They'll just bark at you.
Yeah.
But if they actually bite you, it's fair game. No question.
Yeah, I had a tooth mark in my leg that day from that thing. Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, 'cause some dogs will just run with you. They're fun. I'm good. There's like a golden retriever in the neighborhood. He just runs with me. He's all good.
Hey, what are we doing?
Yeah, he's fine. He'll follow for about half a mile and he'll stop.
Yeah, no, that's a happy dog.
Yeah.
I'm all for happy dog.
Now he might try to run into you and like side butt you a little bit, and you get off pace a little bit. But
yeah, he doesn't understand the pace. He thinks you're all playing a game.
Yeah.
But he has no interest in hurting you. It's his turn to tackle you.
Yeah. Congratulations to Sam Kendricks, the Ole Miss pole vaulter now, obviously professionally. He's done with Ole Miss, but he has won his sixth straight outdoor championship. First American to ever do so, and set the record with 6.06 meters. He pole vaulted 19 feet 10.5 inches for the American standard of measurement. So
also congratulations to Thomas Dillard, who's just hitting bombs in A-ball.
Just hitting bombs.
Just hitting bombs. Hit 3 this weekend.
I'm not surprised by that. I'm ready for these guys to get up in levels a little bit, and let's see what's what.
Yeah, I'm curious.
They were all going to kill Low A.
Yeah, I'm curious to see him, Gray,
And Cooper.
Cooper Johnson in Double A.
Yeah, I saw Cooper threw out some dude after double clutching 2 nights ago.
Yeah, I want to see Double A for those guys. We'll find out. That'll be the great
Because
litmus
Low A, they were going to dominate, and High A is pretty much what they were doing in college.
Yeah,
That's about that level.
Low A for them is
That's a step down.
a step down. High A is about right. And Double A is that step up where because if you can play Double A, you can play in the bigs.
Yeah. We'll have a lot more football on tomorrow's show. A couple other topics I want to talk about. We'll talk to Jeffrey on Thursday, and then we'll go from there. Ole Miss camp again opens with Media Day on Thursday, coverage at rebelgrove.com, and plenty of other stuff going on as well. So we will talk to you tomorrow.